Today, the Senate will vote on legislation to significantly expand sanctions against North Korea in response to the country's dangerous provocations in recent months. This legislation has my strong support. In light of North Korea's recent actions, it is time we act decisively and call on the international community, particularly the UN Security Council and China, to do the same. On January 6th, North Korea conducted a nuclear test involving the underground detonation of a nuclear weapon. 1 month later, on February 7th, they effectively conducted a long-range missile test under the guise of a satellite launch. Just yesterday, in the Senate Armed Services Committee, Director of National Intelligence James Clapper testified that North Korea has expanded a uranium enrichment facility and restarted a plutonium reactor capable of providing fissile material for nuclear weapons. Together, these actions point to a dangerous trend of advancing and expanding North Korea's nuclear weapons program. While the antics of Kim Jong-un and his cronies may seem outlandish, the threat posed by North Korea should be taken seriously. Though open-source assessments cast doubt on Kim Jong-un's claim that he detonated a hydrogen bomb in January, the fact remains North Korea tested a nuclear weapon that caused a magnitude 5.1 earthquake. Though the satellite North Korea fired into space spent yesterday tumbling in orbit, and it may be unusable, the fact remains, according to South Korean officials, if the rocket launched by North Korea on Sunday were successfully reconfigured as a missile, it could fly more than 7,400 miles. That's far enough to reach the shores of the United States. Although North Korea has never tested a long-range ballistic missile capable of delivering a nuclear warhead, there can be no question that Kim Jong-un is intent on building up a nuclear arsenal capable of striking the United States. In my role as ranking member of the Strategic Forces Subcommittee, I was in South Korea last July. I listened to the input of General Scaparrotti, the commander of U.S. Forces Korea, heard from our service members at Yongsan and Osan, and sat with South Korea's defense minister to discuss our shared interests and the importance of this critical alliance. I then traveled directly to Beijing to meet with Rear Admiral Li Ji of the Chinese Ministry of National Defense. We had a frank and meaningful conversation about these topics. Despite our many differences, it is not in the interest of either the United States or China to have a nuclear-armed North Korea destabilizing Asia and destabilizing the globe with irresponsible rhetoric and dangerous actions. It is my sincere hope that the UN Security Council and our international partners will follow our lead to expand international sanctions against North Korea, applying the lessons we learned in blocking Iran's nuclear program. In the meantime, we must continue to enhance our missile defense systems, both at home and abroad. I look forward to working with Senator Sessions to continue our bipartisan work on the Armed Services Committee, to provide necessary resources to the Missile Defense Agency, and to fulfill our commitment to key allies. We must continue to advance MDA's efforts to deploy additional sensors and to improve the reliability and effectiveness of ground-based interceptors. This has the potential to be a pivotal moment for the international effort to counter North Korea's nuclear program. But the United States must lead the way. Strategic patience has worn thin, and it's time to act. By expanding tough sanctions, by strengthening our missile defense programs, and by calling on the international community, and especially China, to act responsibly and decisively in the face of the threat that Kim Jong-un poses to global security.